Okay, hello students, a very warm welcome to you all for today's session. So my name is Ariba and I'll be your science tutor for the day. Okay students, hope you all are doing great. Okay students, so today's session is very interesting. That is reproduction in plants. Okay, yes, okay, good evening, good evening. Okay, Shreyansh, Kamakshi. Okay, hi everyone. Okay, so before starting the session, I would like to introduce you all with some features for the smooth flow of the session throughout. One is the chat box option, wherein you can type your queries and I'll be answering all your queries. Then is the mute and unmute option, wherein you can unmute yourself and answer your questions and I'll be answering that. Okay. Then next is the troubleshoot option, wherein you can click on that if you face any technical issue and our team will be resolving that. Okay. Okay, let's start today's session. So the topic of the day is reproduction in plants. But wait, where are we? This is not Earth, right? Okay, we are on next planet. Okay, now let's start today's session and see what he's up to today. Okay, so Nick has a sample plant on his planet and it has been growing for a quite long time. So what he is doing, he was observing his plant and then he saw that his plant needed water. So what did he do? He started watering his plant. But then an idea came to his mind. Okay, it would be amazing to have a garden full of such plants, right? Okay, garden. You all must have seen gardens, right? Or you must be having garden at your home or your nearby places. Okay, yes. Shreyansh, Piyush, okay. Nimisha, okay, you have that. Isn't it beautiful, right? Gardens, it contains so different type of flowers. It is so beautiful, right? Okay, let's proceed. What is Nick up to? Okay, while he was watering his plant, an idea came to his mind. Is there any means which I can get through which I can get multiple copies of my plant? So, students, any one of you know what is the means through which he can get multiple copies of plant? Okay, you all are typing that in the chat box option. Okay, that is right. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, so while he was searching on his tab and seeing, he checked. Oh, then an idea came to his mind, and then he checked that. Okay, let me check what is reproduction. So while he was scrolling, a word came. What is reproduction? Okay, what is reproduction actually? Okay, let us take a look at that. Okay, so reproduction is the process by which living organisms give rise to young ones of their own kind. Okay, students. Okay, now let's take an example. Let's take a seed of a plant and then sow this seed into the soil and then provide them with proper nourishment, proper care, nutrients for the proper growth of the plant. Now finally this seed starts growing. And now finally these seeds grow into a fully grown plant which is identical to the parent plant, okay, from which the seed was extracted. Okay, so this process is called reproduction, through which you can get a new offspring from the parent plant. This is called reproduction. Here you can see through the seed of a plant, you are able to get a fully grown plant. That is reproduction. Okay. Okay. Now, while he was searching, he came to know that there are different modes of reproduction as well. So, students, any one of you know what is mode of reproduction and what are the modes of reproduction? Okay. Yes, you all are right. Okay. So there are two modes of reproduction. One is the asexual mode of reproduction and another is the sexual mode of reproduction. So what is sexual mode of reproduction and how is it different from asexual mode of reproduction? So asexual mode of reproduction is the reproduction in which an offspring is being produced from the single parent, which is being identical to the parent plant. Okay. Whereas in sexual reproduction, two parents are being involved, which give rise to an offspring. Okay. In order to have a better clearance, let's watch a learning capsule. Okay. Okay, here is it. Okay. Now, through the learning nugget, we came to know that the reproduction, the two modes of reproduction, one is the asexual mode of reproduction, another is the sexual mode of reproduction. But how sexual mode of reproduction is different from the asexual mode of reproduction? So, in the learning nugget, there was a thing that asexual reproduction is a reproduction in which the new offspring is being produced, which is a new offspring is being produced which is similar to the parent as well as it is being produced from a single parent. Okay, Let's take an example of an amoeba. Okay, so amoeba reproduces through asexual mode of reproduction. So amoeba is a unicellular organism. So what happens in amoeba is that in amoeba, firstly, they are irregular in shape. Firstly, the nucleus divide, and then after the division of nucleus, cytoplasm divide. And after the division of nucleus and cytoplasm, through the parent organism, two daughter cells are being produced. This further develop into the amoeba. So here, this is asexual mode of reproduction, where through amoeba two daughter cells are being produced which are identical to the parent, and this is being produced from a single parent. So amoeba follow which mode of reproduction? Asexual mode of reproduction. Okay. Now, students, what is sexual mode of reproduction? So the mode of reproduction in which both the parents are involved. Okay, let's take an example. Here, there is father, mother, and offspring. So male produces the male gamete and the female produces the female gamete. When these both of them combine together, they form an offspring. Okay. So what are gametes? Gametes are the reproductive cells. Okay. Now you must have got the point that in sexual reproduction, two parents are being involved, which produces an offspring. Okay. Okay, now based on that, there's a poll question, so as to have a better understanding, wherein I'll be giving you 10 seconds and you'll be answering the question, and later on we'll be discussing that. Okay, so in dash reproduction, only one parent is involved. Is it A, sexual reproduction, or is it B, asexual mode of reproduction? Okay, 10 seconds for that. Okay, most of you all are answering that right. Okay, Piyush. Okay, Samriddhi. Okay, Samakshi. Okay, right. You all are right. So the answer to this question is asexual. B. In asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved. Okay, you all have seen in the learning nugget also. They clearly explained that in asexual mode of reproduction, only one single parent is involved. Okay. Now, while looking at his plant, an idea struck to his mind. Like now, Nick is saying, let me first check out the various parts of a plant. Okay, okay. Let's watch a learning nugget in order to have a better understanding. Okay, okay. Okay, based on that, there's a poll question, and the rules of the poll question are same as before. So you will be given 10 seconds and I'll be answering the you will be answering the question, and then we'll be discussing that later. Okay. Okay, so the questions is leaf, stem, and root are the dash parts of the plant. Is it A sexual, or is it B vegetative? Okay. Yes. Yes, Piyush. Yes, Sakshi, you all are right. So the answer to this question is vegetative. Leaf, stem, and roots are the vegetative parts of the plant. Okay. Okay, now we learned what is vegetative parts, sexual parts. So let us take a clear look at that. So there's a plant in which you can see in the bottom there is a root, okay, which hold the plant, that it is present inside the soil. It absorbs the water and nutrients. It's got the water through that. Okay, it also hold the plant. Now next the stem, which consists of leaves, flowers, and fruits. Now there is a leaves and fruits are present, and also there is a flower is present. Okay, so leaf, stem, and root, these are the vegetative parts of the plant, whereas flower and fruit are the sexual parts of the plant. Okay, now Nick is seeing, oh, there are different ways which I can through which I can get copies of my plant. Okay, there are different ways. Okay, now what Nick is seeing, he's scrolling down and seeing, okay, what makes a flower reproductive part of the plant? Now he's closely looking at his like the plant and seeing what it makes, like how the flower is called the reproductive part of the plant. Okay, students, can you explain that? Yes, Kamakshi, you said it right. Okay. Okay, let's watch a learning nugget, and then we'll be have a better understanding of the topic. Okay. Yes. Now, based on the learning nugget, there's a poll question. So you'll be having a better understanding. Okay, so identify the different parts of the flower. The male reproductive parts of the flower dash, B female reproductive parts of the flower dash. Okay, so the male reproductive part of the flower is the stamen. Okay, and the female reproductive part of the flower is carpel or the pistil. Okay. Okay, now the parts of a flower. Okay, as it is was explained in the learning nugget, there like in flower there are four whorls. Okay, so the first whorl is the sepals, or it is also called as calyx. It is a green structure, it's a green in color. Okay, now next whorl is petals, also called as corolla. Okay, it is brightly colored, and it attracts the insects for pollination. Okay, now the next whorl is the stamen. Is the male reproductive part of the flower. It consists of the anther and the filament. And the last whorl, which is the innermost whorl, is the female reproductive part, that is carpel, which is being subdivided into three parts: stigma, upper part, and then there's a long cylindrical structure style, and then the basal swollen part, that is the ovary. Okay. Now, Nick is saying, let me take a closer look at the flowers on my plant. Okay. Okay. Now, what did Nick do? Nick take pluck a flower from his plant and then placed it that on a desk, and then he scanned that with the help of a tab. Okay. Now, after scanning, he got this picture. Okay, so what does this show? Okay, so in this picture, you can see a flower which consists of the stamen, that is the male reproductive part of the flower. And there's a pistil, which is the female reproductive part of the flower, and the petals and the sepal. Okay, so stamen consists of the anther and the filament, and the pistil consists of stigma, style, and ovary. Okay. Now, how exactly are the male and the female reproductive parts different? Now you're saying, okay, how these are different, how the male reproductive part is different, how the female reproductive part is different. Now you wanted to know about that. And you all also must be excited to know how these are different. Okay. Okay, let's watch a learning capsule so as to have a better understanding of that. Okay. Okay. Okay, now there's a poll question and I'll be giving you 10 seconds and you'll be answering that, and later on we'll be discussing that question. Okay. So the question is, which of the following is not a part of the pistil? Is it A, stigma? Is it B, style? Is it C, filament? Or is it D, ovary? Okay, you must have seen in the learning nugget that a pistil consists of three parts, that is stigma, style, and swollen ovary. So the here odd one out is C, filament. Filament is the male reproductive part of the flower, which consists of anther and filament. So the odd one out here is filament, which is the male reproductive part of the flower, whereas all the other three is the female reproductive part. These are the parts of the female reproductive part. Pistil, which consists of stigma, style, and ovary. Okay. And the female reproductive part is also known as gynoecium, and the male reproductive part is also known as androecium. Okay. Okay. Now we'll be taking at a closer look as to how the stamen and the pistil look like. Okay, in this stamen, so on the upper, there's a bilobe structure called the anther, which consists of pollen sacs, and in that, pollen grains are present, which are the male gametes. Okay, then there is a long cylindrical stalk-like structure, that is the filament. Okay, so this is the stamen, male reproductive part of the flower. Now, pistil, it consists of stigma, wherein the pollen grains land on that, and below stigma there is a long cylindrical structure called the style, and on the base there is a swollen portion called ovary, which contains ovule. So this is the female reproductive part of the flower, which is called as pistil, or also known as carpel. Okay. Yes. Okay, yeah, the another name is carpel. Yes. Okay, so the now you would be easily able to answer this question. So the answer to this question is C, that is filament, because filament is a part of male reproductive structure. Okay. Now, if you have any doubts, then you can please type that in the chat box option, and I'll be answering that. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, Kamakshi. Yes, Preeti. Okay, yeah, I clearly explained that in the anther, there is a pollen sacs are being present, in that pollen grains are being present. Okay, later in the session you'll be seeing that. Okay, you'll have a better understanding. Okay, now. Okay, now while Nick was searching about the flower and the modes of reproduction and different kind of things, okay, then important notification like pops up. So it says not all flowers have both the reproductive parts, and below that it's written swipe to check them out. So are you all ready? So let's swipe it and see what is next. Okay. So now there is bisexual flower. So what is bisexual flower, students? So wherein both stamen and the pistil are present in the same flower. So bisexual flower is that flower in that the male reproductive structure and the female reproductive structure is present on the same flower. Same flower, as you can see in this picture, the anther, the filament, that is the male reproductive part, stamen, and the pistil is present on the same flower. So this is here in this example of China rose, where you can see the stamen and the pistils are being present on the same flower. Okay, so another example of bisexual flowers would be mustard, petunia, or rose. Okay, okay. Now there are unisexual flowers. So what are unisexual flowers? In them, the stamen and the pistil is present on separate flowers. So what happens in the maize plants? Here is an example of maize plant wherein you can see the stamen and the pistil are being present on the separate flowers. Okay, another example would be cucumber, wherein also the stamen and the pistil are being present on the separate flowers. Okay, another example would be the papaya, but in case of papaya it's totally different. What is there in papaya? The male reproductive part is present on a single plant, and the female reproductive part is present on another plant. So this plant consists of the male reproductive part, and this plant consists of the female reproductive part. So these flowers are called the unisexual flowers. Okay, okay, so these are present on the different plant, or it can also be the case there where the male and the female flower can present on the same plant, but on the separate flowers. That the male and reproductive structure can be present on the same plant, but on the different flowers can be separate. Okay, so wherein where the flowers are separate, this is the unisexual flowers, where the stamen and the pistil is being present in the separate flowers. Okay, which is present on the same plant. Okay, so now state whether the following statements are the true or false. Unisexual flowers have both the male and the female reproductive parts. Is it true or is it false? No, the answer to this question is false. Okay. Now the next question is, in bisexual flowers, female reproductive parts are absent. False. Because in bisexual flowers, both the female and the male reproductive structures are present together. Okay, they are present on the same flower. But in unisexual flowers, here it's written have both the male and the female reproductive part. No, it is wrong, because in unisexual flowers, either you contain the male and the female, either you contain the male flower, either you contain the female plant, or the male or the reproductive structure is present on separate flowers. Okay, on separate flowers, this is called as unisexual flowers. Okay, now what Nick is doing, Nick is saying how will they interact with them to give me a new plant. Now he's saying how these will interact together and give me a new plant. Here in the picture you can clearly see their petals, their sepals, and the stamen and the pistil. Now he wanted to know how like after interaction how they give a new plant. Okay, so let's follow learning capsule. Okay, okay. Okay, now we have watched a learning capsule, and now based on that, we'll be solving a question. Okay, so identify the type of pollination between different flowers present in the same plant. Okay, and the B question is pollination between different flowers present on different plant. So, okay, you all are typing the question. Yes, yes, Piyush, yes, Shreyash, yes, you all are right. So the answer to this question is pollination between different flowers present in the same plant is the self-pollination or autogamy. Okay. where the pollination takes place between different plants, but they are present on the same plant. That is self-pollination or autogamy. But where the pollination takes place between different flowers and they are also present on different plant. So the answer is cross-pollination or allogamy. Okay, where the flowers are present on different plants. Okay. Now self-pollination. So what is actually self-pollination? In this, you can see two flowers are there. In this, when the pollination, what is actually pollination? Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of stamen to the stigma of carpel. Okay, so what is self-pollination? Here the transfer of pollen grains take place from the anther of stamen to the stigma, from the anther of stamen to the stigma of carpel, uh, on the same flower. Like on the same flower it can happen, or also which is present on the same flower, or the pollination can takes place on a different flower as well, but this should be present on the same plant. Like in self pollination, on the same flower itself the pollination can takes place, also the pollination can takes place on different flowers, but they are present on the same plant. So this is self pollination. So now there is cross pollination. So what is cross pollination? Actually, it is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of the stamen to the stigma of carpel of different flower. They are present on different plant. So in this cross pollination, the flowers are also present on the different plant, and the pollination is taking place on the different plant, but the plant is of the same species. Okay. Okay, right. Now identify the type of pollination. So this we clearly have seen like before. So the answer is A, that is self pollination. Pollination between different flowers present on different plant. B is cross pollination or allogamy. Okay. Now Nick is seeing his plant, and then again he's curious. What happens to the plant once it lands on stigma? Now he's curious. Like what happens to the like the pollen after it reaches to the stigma? Like the from the like the pollen is reaching to the stigma, which is the female reproductive part. Okay, that is pistil or carpel, and it is reaching on the stigma. Okay, so that you all also must be excited to know, na, ki after what it happens, what is the interaction which takes place. So that we'll be covering in the next session, and hope you'll be excited towards the next session and to have a understanding how it lands and what are the things that happen. Okay, if you have any queries, then you can please type that in the chat box option, and I'll be resolving that. Okay, yes. Okay, if you like, okay, you all want more questions. Okay, I'll be coming with that. So there's a poll question, and wherein you'll be given 10 seconds, and based on that I'll be answering that and discussing the question. Okay, so which of the following is present in a female unisexual flower? Is it A, anther? Is it B, ovary? Okay, so the answer is B, ovary, because in the female unisexual flower, ovary is present. Okay, because ovary, as like we mentioned now, in a unisexual flower, is a female unisexual flower. It consists of stigma, style, and ovary. Here it is mentioning the female unisexual flower. So that is comes under. So the answer is B, ovary. Whereas anther, it is present in the male reproductive part, the anther in the filament, the stamen, which we discussed before. So this is the anther is the which is present in the male unisexual flower. Okay. Now label the different parts of the stamen. Okay. Okay, so herein you can see the bilobe structure present, like the structure which is present. Okay, so this structure is the anther. Okay, and the long stalk-like structure is the filament. So it together constitute the male reproductive part of the flower, which is the stamen. Okay, that is stamen. Okay, with this, we come up with the end of the session. And if you have any queries, then I'll be resolving that. Okay, once again, thank you for being a lovely audience and answering and asking such a great questions today. And okay, bye-bye, take care and stay safe and stay healthy. Okay, happy learning.